I'm Louisa Barton with the Horse Talk Show here at Copperline Farm in Citra, just north of Ocala, the horse capital of the world. I'm here with Sinead Halpin and Tik Maynard. We're going to do a little mini-series at home with Tik and Sinead. We're going to start out with Sinead and find out a little bit about her childhood, growing up around horses, and kind of what brought her to where she is in the horse world today. Sinead, tell us a little bit about growing up.
I'm daughter of Bernadette and Eamon, so I had a very Irish upbringing, even though we were in the States. And my mom grew up in the country in Ireland, so she always had horses. And when I was a little kid, I kind of did the typical, I want a pony, and it just stuck. And actually, my mom was really excited to have horses back in our lives again. So I started taking lessons, and then my mom and I got an off-the-track thoroughbred that we shared named Star. And I just never quite put it down.
Now, when you started out, were you just kind of playing around with ponies for fun, or did you get really serious into competing young?
Yeah, I actually was part of our local 4-H and our pony club, and through 4-H we got to do our local, I grew up in South Carolina, so we had a local ballpark and we had competitions every Tuesday night. So we would do everything from Western to jumping to dressage, and so I always competed, and then kind of clicked over into PSJ, progressive show jumping, which actually I think is still around, and did a bit of hunter jumper stuff, and then switched over to eventing when I was about 13 or 14.
And what kind of drew you towards the eventing?
We had a local event at the time, and the cross country, just watching the horses go cross country, I thought was amazing. And I had a really cool pony at the time, and I thought that looked way more fun than just trotting around in the ring. And my mom really liked the culture of it. She was big into fox hunting, so she leaned towards that a little bit more than the hunter show circuit. So, the first event, we just were both hooked.
So a lot of support from your family.
Yeah, very, very supportive family. My dad was a builder, and ultimately, actually, in high school, he ended up building a big boarding facility. So we lived over the boarding barn, and we had 16 stalls, and we had a barn we rented across the street. So I did stalls in the morning, and then went to school, and then came home and rode. And so it was really great. It was a really fun upbringing.
So you had the work ethic as well, not just the get on a made pony.
Oh, yeah. Both my parents are incredibly hard workers, so that was always, I rarely got told I couldn't do something, but I rarely got told how to do it. They just said, if you can do it, that's fine. And if we were going to have horses, we were all going to chip in and be mucking out the stalls. When my parents actually first immigrated here from Ireland, they worked doing anything they could to make a living, and they actually worked at Kentucky Horse Park cleaning out stalls at Kentucky Horse Park. So, so we're a family of workers.
Let's switch over to Tik. Tik, tell us, I'm actually going to pass you the mic because it'll be a better stretch, right? It is. Tell us a little bit about your childhood. I know you have some pony club background, mum doing dressage, dad show jumper.
Well, I grew up in Vancouver, which is on the west coast of Canada, and I was in pony club for a long time, from the time that I was 6 years old to the time that I was 21. It's a long time in pony club. For anybody that's done that, they'll maybe recognize what a feat that was to do that. And both my parents evented in the 1970s before I was born, and then when they had kids, I've got two brothers. When they had kids, they both kind of took a step back from eventing, and my dad got more into show jumping, and my mom got more into dressage, and she's a dressage judge now, and she also does the equestrian dressage judging. And my dad switched over and started doing the show jumping and the Grand Prix. And one of my favorite memories from growing up is every summer going with him to Spruce Meadows. If there's any show jumpers, out there, then they'll know about Spruce Meadows. It's one of the best show jumping venues in the world. And sometimes I'd help him with the horses or go watch, but also being a little kid, I'd go out and play in the hay bales. I remember hundreds and hundreds of hay bales, and would go and climb along them, and we're lucky we didn't get killed like falling between the cracks of them. And then as I got a little bit older, I started riding more and more myself. I got my A in pony club. I started doing more dressage with my mom and more show jumping with my dad. And I didn't really get into eventing at all when I was a kid. We grew up, in a part of town where there wasn't a lot of land. So all the time when we rode, it was in the ring. We never got out, like how Sinead's mom did and went fox hunting. That wasn't a thing where I grew up at all. And then it wasn't until in my mid-20s that I went and I experienced, galloping around on a big cross-country course for the first time. And it was one of the most vivid memories I have of riding in my entire life. Like, if you've been in a ring your whole life and then you get out on that cross-country course for the first time, it's just like, it just gives you a freedom and an exhilaration like you've never had before. And I came off and I just had the biggest smile. And since then I've done a lot of eventing, and and that's how I met Sinead for the first time, was through eventing, and a lot of the friends I have now and the hobbies and the horses, and just, it's even the reason why I live here in Ocala now. Ocala is such a great place for eventing.
It really is, and I brought your wonderful book along here. We had Ferdinand with us here for a minute. He may come back over if you want to see the puppy. We are going to carry on this series, and in the very next segment that we're going to do with them, we're going to talk a little bit about how they met and the romance. So make sure you tune in, the Horse Talk Show with Louisa Barton.